Hi everyone, this is David, the music director. Here's a little walkthrough on how to use the sound system. If you are up on the stage here and you go to the left on the second door, if you open that, you'll see some sound equipment. It's fairly easy to do here. What you've got to do is turn on this red switch in the center and you'll see the mixer light up. And then if you go to the bottom in the back, this takes a little bit of a look, but in the back there's a switch back here. You just turn that on and that turns on the amps. You don't have to do anything to either one of those things. In fact, I would prefer that you don't. Should you need this W1 microphone, this is where it's stored. It has an on-off switch, and it also has a power switch on the bottom, which you'll need to turn on. There are batteries inside of this, so if you wanted to use it, you may want to make sure that the batteries are fresh. We don't use it all that often. Now we're headed upstairs to the lower. If you push this button, it'll turn on, and then if you push it again, you'll have to put in the code, which is 2442. It'll bring you to the home screen here with all the apps. Now down on the bottom, I know this is blurry, I can tell. There's an X mix here. It's got an X and it's black. And it'll open up this screen. So if you wait for a moment, it takes about 10 seconds, 20 seconds, something like that. It should connect to the mixer. See, it's taking a bit here. Okay, nothing's happening. And I'm glad that this happened because it happens occasionally that the app does not connect. So if that happens, first try closing the app. And the way you do that is just swipe up and it'll show the app here. Swipe up again and that'll close it. So let's go back to our home screen, try opening that again. All right, and it seems not to be working. So what we have to do in this case is hold the power switch, which is up here. All right, slide it to turn it off. Wait for a moment. And then hold the power switch again and release it. Let's try that again. There we go. Yeah, for some reason, sometimes when you connect to that app, it can't find the signal. I don't know why. This takes a moment to connect. 2442. Back to the screen. Press the X mix. Sometimes it's a little sluggish when you first turn it on, so give it a moment. All right, there we go. Now it took us right to this screen, which is what you want. And you should see some flickering of the microphones. All right, so right now, the lectern mic is off down in the front. I'll show you that in a moment. But you can see the pulpit mic here. This is so blurry. But the pulpit mic is muted at the bottom here. If you see these channels, all right, you've got a mute button. If you want that mic to be heard, you've got to unmute it. All right, so if it's not pink, then it is live, all right, and it's flickering. Now, If someone is speaking on one of those channels and you want to hear them a little better, or if they were not a real strong speaker, you could slide this up, but really very, very slightly. All right. If you start to hear a feedback, just bring it down very, very slightly. All right. If you make a big adjustment, you will most likely have a feedback. If you need to use the handheld mic, that's the one that says W1 on it. I have it not muted because it's not turned on, so nothing's happening. And then the lavalier is the headset mic that John wore every week. So no one's wearing it at the moment, but if you need it, you can unmute it there. I just leave it muted for now. And then we have the lectern mic, which says W2 lectern. Right now that's live, but the lectern mic is not on. If you want to mute it, you can do that. Now, I tend to only leave on either the pulpit or the lectern, because if they're making a fair amount of sound, you can easily get some feedback. So I tend to go for one or the other. All right, let me walk you downstairs. When you're done with this, all you have to do, you don't have to do anything to the app, just shut it. In the front, it's attached to the lectern. If you go underneath it, there's a little switch down here. You have to make sure it's turned on. You'll see that little red light turn on. Again, this is battery powered, so if it's not working right, check that the battery is good. There may be some batteries in the closet, and this is adjustable, as is the one up on the pulpit. All right, I hope that covers everything. Good luck.